getting started here. Looks like everyone's filing in. We'll give everyone a minute. Great to see everyone joining. We appreciate having so many people here so promptly. I always love the beginning of these webinars when I just get to see all the new names getting added to the list. Yeah, it's really great. And you guys always attract a crowd, so that's always fun.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for having us, Rob.
Of course. All right. Looks like we've got a good critical mass of everyone coming in. Give everyone just 30 more seconds or less, and then we'll get started. Wouldn't want anyone to miss anything.
Of course.
All right, this is looking good. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Netcapital's live Q&A with the team at MAGFAST. For anyone who doesn't know, my name is Rob Burnett. I'm the CEO of the Netcapital Funding Portal. And we have with us today Seymour and Rex from MAGFAST. We'll introduce them in a second, but for anyone who doesn't know, we host these live Q&As with some of our entrepreneurs so that you all can get to know them better, learn more about their business, and ask your questions to make sure you're making an informed investment decision should you choose to invest. At the bottom of your screen, or maybe at the top, depending on where you have it in Zoom, there's going to be a Q&A function. Anyone who's listening or attending and has questions as we go along, please put your question in the Q&A, and I'll get to it kind of as appropriate or throughout the Q&A here today. But with all that being said, Seymour, Rex, good to have you guys. Good to see you. Good to have you back. Why don't you, if anyone who on the call doesn't know you or anyone watching a recording doesn't know you, why don't you guys just give a quick intro as to who you are and maybe the quick elevator pitch about MAGFAST?
Sure. Well, I'm Seymour Segnet, the founder and CEO of MAGFAST. With me is Rex Northern, who we continue to give a slightly unusual title, Special Projects Director, because with a young company, there's often so many crazy important new things that need to be done. And Rex is my kind of most trusted lieutenant to even that word lieutenant doesn't do is totally inadequate for the relationship. But I know that I can always trust Rex with moving through any major new project. And we're in the middle of a major kind of a major shift within the company at the moment that we'll talk about. Let me hand over to Rex for just a moment. And Rex, why don't you explain just a little more, including maybe just do that set up. MAGFAST was set up to change charging for good. Talk a little bit about that for a second, maybe.
All right, I'm glad to do that. I'm here, as Seymour mentioned, Special Projects Director. Have known Seymour for many, many years, so for his sins and mine. So changing charging for good, MAGFAST is clearly in the business of producing these little wonderful small plastic boxes that are chargers that are part of a system. And so I'm sure Seymour will show some graphics about that. But these are chargers that don't just work individually, they work together. There's a family of them. We have a feature called Snap to Charge, which is the magic of magnets. As soon as you connect one of these devices to another, they're instantly charging. And that's part of the story of changing charging for good. It's a very good story. It's a kind of story that Apple has relied on to make sure that you don't just buy one Apple product, you buy a complete ecosystem of products. It's also a story which is expanding now, as I know Seymour will explain, because we have a future which is more than just charging. We've already introduced other products. There are charging cables. The Lux cable is part of the solution. Some amazing charging cables, which are America's favorite smartphone charging cables, and a smart luggage range called Heathrow, which is part of this ecosystem of devices that work together, not just individually. So all of that is part of the story, and we're going to come on to the future of what this means in terms of building a system around your entire life, which we think is very exciting and could be one of the things that starts to move the needle in terms of a really big company, which we're very excited about.
Thanks, guys. So let's dive right into it. You all built the business on the back of doing some pretty significant pre-order campaigns, and I know you've done several of those. And I know with some of the original products, one thing you've been very open about is there were some struggles with producing and delivering on some of those early pre-orders, some of those original ones. Do you want to kind of just talk about that and what that looks like?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this is there's a huge amount to be incredibly proud about that we've achieved over the years. And there's this one thing that's the kind of the difficult piece, the elephant in the room. So I'm grateful to you for bringing it up, kind of right at the front, Rob. We set out. It's actually now fully 7 years ago that we first kind of laid out our stall, and we said, look, this business of charging of mobile devices, it's kind of not very good. You know, people love their. There's all kinds of consumer products that people love. A lot of people love their car. They love their saucepan set, you know, this like fantastic non-stick set that they've got for the kitchen, or cast iron set that they've got for the kitchen. Or they have clothing that they love, or they love their cell phone. Hardly anybody would ever say that they love their charger or their charging cable. So we saw this opportunity to do some premium products in that area, but we also had this idea about a family of products that all work together. Both because that's just from a product point of view kind of satisfactory. It's nice when you have kind of a set of products that are optimized to work together and match and work together. But also, frankly, from a business point of view, as Rex just mentioned, the expensive thing from a business point of view is kind of getting in front of a customer, and if at that moment you can relieve them of a larger number of their dollars all in one go, that's helpful from a business point of view, as long as you're doing so appropriately. Kind of unethically. So we had a list of folks from a previous business, and we did an initial crowdfunding. Now, it's probably worth making this distinction, especially in a forum like this. There's 1,000 different types of crowdfunding, but for this purpose, there are two. There's equity crowdfunding, which is what this Q&A is supporting right now. It's what Netcapital and their competitors do for a living, which is to allow young companies to offer investment instruments in their young companies. But there's also what's called product crowdfunding, and that's where companies say, "Hey, look, we've got this idea for a product. You know, if you'd like to support us, we're going to go make that product, and if we're successful, you know, you'll get the product." And having had some success with that in the past, we started MAGFAST on that basis. And I did a presentation actually to all of our existing customers and investors the other day. And I said, you know what? I kind of feel like starting with product crowdfunding was sort of the original sin, as it were, because from day one, we had this two-edged sword of success, which is that we had lots and lots of people who were really excited about what we're doing and, oh my God, I can't wait for my products. And then developing the products hit problem after problem after problem. Now, it's also important to point out that I'm the founder, I'm the CEO. I appointed the people who were developing the products. And if I had made kind of different choices along the way, we would have had a different trajectory. I mean, I don't shirk responsibility for that at all. I alone am responsible for everything that happened. But as we went along, because of this, one of the things to understand about product development is it's very easy to take kind of an existing product and just put a different wrapper around it. Famously in the car industry, sometimes exactly the same car just has a couple of different changes and different brand names on the front, right? And a lot of that happens in the electronics industry. We were trying to do something harder than that, which was to introduce a whole series of innovations around charging. So from a development point of view, it was harder anyway, and the original partners weren't up to the job, or certainly weren't up to doing the job at any kind of speed. And the longer it took, the harder it became, because there was no new money available for that development. So the suppliers, like, their motivation was reduced. We didn't have new money to throw them out and bring in new suppliers. And meanwhile, customers, completely understandably and reasonably, were going, where's my stuff? And, one or two getting one or two or three or four or more asking for refunds. So we just had this sort of kind of perfect storm of challenges around the original products. And yet, there was this essential energy about the company that, maybe I catalyzed, but truly came from this fantastic community of early customers, was then supplemented by you guys at Netcapital, who helped us to do previous and earlier sold out funding rounds. And this incredible team, Rex has been, he and I have known each other for a long time before this, but Rex and this extraordinary group of people have kept this energy going. And as we went along, we did very belatedly develop 3 of the original charger products. And along the way, we developed a cable product. Rex mentioned it's called Lux. I mean, it's not much to show in front of a camera because it's just a cable, right? It's a cable that you plug into a phone. But there's a lot of detail that gets not plugged in at the other end. But I don't know how well you guys can see here. But if I hold it a little closer, but this shape is absolutely gorgeous. There's sort of hundreds of hours have gone just into the kind of what's called the industrial design, just the shape of the product, and it just feels incredible in your hand. And people essentially, if you're a well-balanced human, at this point you'll be saying, this guy is completely crazy speaking like this about a freaking USB charging cable. I have them. They're rubbish. How could you be excited about a cable? And then people get one in their hands and they're like, oh my goodness, this is the best cable I've ever had. It's incredible. I love it. Lifetime warranty. People buy 10 packs, 25 packs to give as gifts. We have an online promotion, a webinar, like what's called an evergreen webinar. So it's like this is a live presentation now, at least it is at 3 p.m. on Thursday afternoon, exactly. At 3 p.m. Eastern. But we have this presentation that is sort of recorded live, as it were, and it plays all the time. This is a $37 cable, right, which is a premium price for a cable. The average order value at that presentation, $185. This is a $37 product, and the average order value selling those cables is $185. So people go crazy for these things and they buy them in quantities. It comes in, do I have one here? Just absolutely gorgeous packaging. All of our stuff comes in gorgeous packaging. I just happen to be talking about the cable right now. I don't know how well you guys can see that over the... Were you getting the reflections there a little bit?
Yeah, we can see it.
So just beautifully packaged. And we did all of that development ourselves, or at least we worked like directly with the factory rather than kind of through some intermediaries. And the development went smoothly and quickly, and folks are thrilled. And if you isolate the reviews for that product from people understandably saying, I'm annoyed because I ordered some early stuff and it's taken too long. But if you isolate the reviews for this Lux product, they're just off the charts, and it's got a 4.8, 4.9 stars. And so we say, Rex said it earlier on, I think, America's highest rated smartphone cable. It's absolutely fantastic. And then because part of the original, is this answer long enough for you, by the way? I want to make sure I'm not shortchanging you with the answer.
I really want you to, we need a little more time on that, Seymour. We need some more detail.
One of the original products is this guy, Extreme, MAGFAST Extreme. We believe to this day it's still the only portable charger that allows you to wirelessly charge 3 phones simultaneously. The thing's amazing, and its headline is that it can jumpstart your car. You can actually plug a set of jumper cables into it, and in a pinch it'll jumpstart your car. And we hear from customers all the time that it's saved their bacon. But we figured that this guy was. It's the charger you need if you're traveling when you get to your destination. You need a little one to give you a boost on the way, but when you get there, you need lots of power because you've got to plug in your laptop and plug in all of these other devices. So we went ahead and developed, again, sort of directly, we went and developed a suitcase, which is called MAGFAST Heathrow. And we have this incredible patent-pending mechanism here to release this, because you're not allowed to check a bag with a charger in it. So this just goes in and out in a second, one-handed, for security, or if you need the thing as you're traveling. And we launched that just about a year ago. Just shipped the first ones of those to customers because doing it right kind of takes a while. So first customers got that within the last 6 weeks, Rex, 2 months. Right. Just loving it because the quality is super premium. And so the product philosophy has always been, it's got to be amazing because plenty of other people are doing not amazing stuff. And it took too long to do that with the original chargers, and we disappointed too many of our early customers. They're rightly upset about it. And so as we make this transition that we're making at the moment, we've made this very strong commitment, which is we're going to make sure that everybody who we didn't deliver on to begin with, we're gonna make sure that we kind of over deliver for them as we go forward by giving them kind of additional sort of bonuses into the new range of products that we're now working on.
Thanks, Seymour. And I know that was a really good explanation of everything. And to kind of keep it going, so I understand that this is kind of a pivot point for the company. You guys are making some changes, and you're kind of moving MAGFAST into its kind of next maybe version of life is too strong a word, but you're making some changes. You're pursuing some different avenues. So you want to talk everyone through kind of what does that look like?
Sure. As you know, I'm shy. I don't care for public speaking, but
I know.
Okay.
You suffer through it. You manage.
So the company from its inception, the rallying call from day one was MAGFAST changing charging for good. So what does that mean? Changing charging. Okay, any company might say that. Changing charging for good. So for good means if we do our job properly, we'll actually cause a bit of a shift in an industry that isn't that great, and that remains our goal. Famously over the last few years, that was part of Tesla's mission, right? It was like whether or not Tesla themselves were successful in the electric car industry, they wanted to get the industry to shift. And I think whatever else you think about Tesla, there's very little doubt that they've caused this extraordinary change in the way that the world looks at mobility in the coming years. So we felt that there was a chance to change the industry a bit, but also to do some good along the way. And we've planted, what is it now, 625,000 trees, I think it is, with our friends at Trees for the Future. Super proud of that. We went out and did a field inspection recently. But changing charging for good, if we're really going to change it, we need to do it on a very big scale. And so in the past, we've been a pure consumer electronics company. We've had some successes. We've had some real challenges that we just described there. The other major challenge beyond manufacturing has been cost of customer acquisition, which has become very difficult for direct-to-consumer customers over the last few years. And when you look at all the money that's moved through the company over the last few years, a little bit of it has come to me as an employee, and a little bit's gone to Rex and the other members of the team, and far too much of the money has gone to Facebook and YouTube and Google and so on for running ads and customer acquisition. So that model needs to change. But fundamentally, from a charging point of view, our original Snap to Charge, which is fantastic and which customers love, it's kind of the industry caught up with us while we were having our challenges. This original mechanism, which allows, boom, any two of our products to snap together. This is called Air, Gen 1 Air. I'll show you Gen 2 in just a second. Gen 1 Air is this really nice little desk charger, a little stand that snaps magnetically on the back. We use magnets wherever we can. The thing's just really has an issued design patent on its shape and so on. And then any of our chargers can just snap straight on the back, or you can take and plug in a cable into the back. There's our USB-C cable, MAGFAST Lux. There's also, because when we started this, there were still a lot of micros around, you can also plug a micro into the back there as well. So we had this first generation charger that had the charging connection, the magnetic and fast, the MAGFAST connection, that was just delightful and went to the very heart and the very essence of where we started to make these delightful products. And in the meantime, the industry had caught on to this because for the last few years, Apple products have had this magnetic wireless charging has been supplemented with a ring of magnets around it. You can see it on the back of this case, shows it quite well here. But there's the wireless charging there, and then there's a ring of magnets around it that allows this kind of snap to charge, and it's now become the industry standard. It's called Qi 2. Anybody watching this, whether or not you choose to invest in MAGFAST, get yourself some Qi 2 chargers from worthy competitors who are out there. The first ones are just coming onto the market. I've got one here. I'll mention them. I'll plug them. I don't mind. U Green is a great brand that we admire. Here's a little battery. Here's a little battery they have. Snaps straight onto the back of your phone. And this charging standard is now moving across the entire industry. So all of the Samsung and all of the others are adopting it. So we're in this interesting position in charging now, which is we've got two really strong global standards for charging. You've got the USB wired standard, which is now finally is on all new iPhones as of the last generation, as of the 15, and has been on everybody else's for a few years before that. It's on most laptops now. It's going to be on all laptops within another 18 months, I think, something like that, and most other accessories and so on. They're all USB-C, and USB-C is terrific. So now it's worth buying really good quality USB-C cables, because this standard is going to be around for the next 10 or 15 years, and we know this because the previous collection of standards were around for a long time, at least a decade each. But now the European Union has mandated this as a standard, and that's forced the whole industry. And the good thing about USB-C is there's enough juice in the standard that you can get lots of data and lots of power. You can currently get approximately 10 times the power that you need to charge a phone through a USB-C cable, and many times more data than you want. So USB-C is there to stay. We already support USB-C with America's highest rated smartphone cable, MAGFAST Lux. You can pick it up on Amazon. You can pick it up from us as well. So that's wired charging. The wireless standard is going to be this thing called Qi 2. So we figured, you know what, MAGFAST needs to be all in on Qi 2. It wouldn't make any sense for our second generation of products to have our magnetic thing here and then have the industry's one here. Like that would be ridiculous. So we figured, but we also MAGFAST only sort of raison d'etre, as it were, is if we can do more and do better than others in the industry. Yes, with quality, but also with product innovation. And would it be, because at least it would mean we wouldn't have to kind of look at the three of us for a minute. Would it be okay if I put some slides up just for a quick second?
Yeah, let's share some slides.
Just to quickly talk folks through this transition to the second generation connector, because I got some pretty pictures that I think will kind of help to tell the story.
Help get the point across.
Yeah. And Rob, I know I'm going a bit of a rate here, but do just interrupt me at any second with any clarifying questions, please.
Yeah, I will.
You guys see this? You guys see this? Right. So this slide shows a kind of translucent version of the magnetic connection that I just showed you. Right. You've got one above, one below. You can see the precision magnets lined up. This is the old magic of MAGFAST, and now we have to move to the new second generation connector, and here it is. Very simple, very beautiful, and as you're about to see, a very important strategic move for us, because yes, it provides fast wireless magnetic charging. It uses standard parts and chipsets, which is one of the things that caused us trouble in the past, was using things that had to be made specially for us.
And Seymour, to jump in, so that's those standard parts. Does that help reduce costs? And
like more than you can imagine. It speeds things up 5 or 10-fold and reduce costs, 2, 3, 4-fold. I mean, the difference that it makes is unconscionable, right? So critical, and it allows for a new generation of products for us, and this is critical, that are 100% compatible with all smartphones, the new smartphones that are coming out now, right? And any wireless charging smartphones from the last few years, with all of our first generation power banks with a very simple modification that takes about 10 seconds that I can show you if you're interested, and with all first generation wireless products without the magnets, that's Qi, and now the ones I'm just showing you with the ring of magnets, Qi 2. So this thing's very powerful for us, and we think that it makes the possibilities for the business 100 times greater with three things that I'm going to show you real quick now. First of all, the next level of products. So this is like what we've done for the last few years, but taken to the next level. The second is something that we call MAGFAST Fingerprint Unity, because we wanted a nice simple name with as few syllables in it as possible. I'll explain that to you in just a second.
It really rolls off the tongue.
And then third, we think there's a chance to really change charging for good with a great open public charging network. So let's just talk about these quickly. So first of all, the next level products. Here is the connector that I just showed you, the MAGFAST second generation connector. And here it is as part of a second generation set of products. Now, I want to be clear, these are the products that we plan to develop. We're raising funding now to move into this exciting new phase. So these are products that are imagined. A lot of the work that will be needed for them has been done, but a lot still remains. And let's go through them all quickly one at a time.
Actually, Seymour, can I ask you a question real quick on that? If you go back, so to reiterate for investors, right? How we spoke about it a little bit about the standard chipsets and things, but kind of what's changed in MAGFAST's plan for Gen 2 in terms of production in particular?
So the main one will be just working with suppliers who are better set up for the job. I mentioned the challenge we've had along the way, and I showed you Air just now. You know, the kind of the angular one that goes on your desk. I'm probably kind of small on folks' screens now, but if you can see Air here. So Air, the original suppliers had struggled with for years. We started working with an extraordinary company set up by some veterans of Texas Instruments. They were able to crack all of the problems with Air in about 4, maybe 5 weeks. So they're going to be at the heart of the new development efforts. So it's just taking it's taking all of the lessons from the past, picking the right suppliers, putting the right incentives in place, because this financing that we're doing with you at the moment is the first of a series of is escalating the right word of growing finances, because the vision that we're describing here is going to require a lot of capital, and now we're fortunate to be working. You introduced us, Rob, to John Fanning, who's a veteran of many large companies. His most the company for which he's originally most famous was called Napster, which completely upended the music industry 20 years ago. He's also one of the original investors in Uber and Twitter, you name it. He's often been involved in the early stages, and John looked at everything that we've done right and wrong over the last 7 years and said, you know what, we can fix the wrong stuff, but this right stuff is really, really rare. And so working with him, we also have connections into 2 or 3 of the top tier contract manufacturing firms as well. So we're excited about, and thank you for asking about that. We're excited about sort of accelerating the development. So just super quick, MAGFAST Life, I held up the first generation of those just now. Here it is. It's the one you want with you every day. Slides in your pocket. A handful of extra charges for your phone. Here's the second generation of Extreme, which will keep the same format so that it can continue to go into the Heathrow carry-on there. Heathrow is something to behold. I got to tell you. We're also hoping to do this one. We haven't given it its name because this is new, this generation. We're calling it codename Camel because it puts a bump on the back of your phone, a little bit like the competitive product I showed you just now. But the one that's in some ways strategically most important is the new generation of Air. Air, instead of snapping onto other products, will be one onto which you snap products. Now, I'm controlling all of the screen sharing and everything at the moment, aren't I? So I've got to be careful as I do this. You know what? Let me take you through the deck, and I'll show you Air in just a second. But Air becomes Air is important because it becomes the station that you have around your home. And you know what? If my slide says demo, I guess that means I have to do a quick demo, doesn't I? So let me unscreen share. I will switch cameras if that's okay.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay, and I've given the next part of the game away a little bit there, but if you just focus your attention onto the middle one of these, here is Air, and you're just going to pop your phone on that, you can see it immediately starts to charge, and there's a lower spot as well where you'll be able to put other accessories and so on to charge. Does that make sense? And of course, it supports the new, the kind of horizontal charging and so on as well. Which, but by the way, if you're not using it, if you have if you have an iPhone, it's the horizontal is absolutely terrific. So air is important because we think that you want to have it in multiple places around your home. Give me 2 seconds to get the screen share going again. Just confirm for me, please, that you guys have the screen again.
Yep, we got it.
Yeah, so air, you want, and trust me on this, you want to have, whether it's from us or from a competitor, you want several of these stands around your house, and there's going to be good reasons why you're going to want it from us when it's available. So beside your bed, yes, in your office or your den, as I just demonstrated, with maybe a phone on it, and charging other products that can be ours or other wirelessly charging products. We envisage also a product called Air Base that will be kind of more power, including USB-C, you can see on there as well. And Air Base, guess what? Can be a base for air. So air and Air Base can go together nicely like that. And remember I said that all of this is predicated on the new second generation connector. I'm not going to tell you what we're working on in which we may or may not be successful. All right, and essentially, Rob, I think you guys caution this with pretty much every issuer, and we should caution it about us. We're talking to you about future plans here. We've made the products we've made, and we're planning on the products we're planning on. And if you think those are exciting, then we'd love it if you consider joining us on the journey. But these are plans at the moment. But this second generation connector. There's something we think we may be able to do, and I just want to give you a little kind of one-on-one to understand it. These days, wireless charging and wired are the two standards I mentioned. Wireless charging, typically, I mean, at the moment, it's slower than that on most phones. Some of them are a bit more, but think of 20 watts maybe as a reasonable charging rate for wireless. 40 watts for wired in the generation of phones that are kind of here or coming soon. And so we think that there may be a way that, whilst remaining completely compatible, that we can build the future of wireless charging using the hole in the middle. And what am I talking about? Well, wireless charging uses coils, you see the ring of magnets around the outside, but wireless charging works with a coil of electric wire like that, which induces a current in a coil on the other side. So you might here be looking at the one in the back of the phone, but there's something similar in our connector. And we think that this space in the middle, we can't really tell you too much about it, but this space in the middle, we think that by using something we're calling the antenna and doing some clever work behind the scenes, we think that it may be possible. It's patent pending, by the way, this, but we think that it may be possible to get an up to 10 times power increase from the connection. If we can't do 10, maybe we can do 5, but we think there's a chance to do something quite useful there. You would obviously need compatible connections on both sides, so you'd get that from a MAGFAST charger on one side. You'd be able to convert any phone with a simple case, and we would obviously license this out to other case manufacturers. What we will definitely be is 100% compatible with all smartphones, with all of our first generation power banks, and with all Qi 1 and Qi 2 products on the market, which is basically all wireless charging products. So we're kind of excited about that for the new products. And let me quickly go through MAGFAST Fingerprint Unity. Unity is this sort of state of being when one is united or joined as a whole, says the dictionary. We think of it as the moment of connection. You know, when you snap to charge, when you take a product and snap it on. Can you guys still see me, by the way? Do folks still see us on camera? Have you just got the slide? Yeah. So this moment here, there can be more than just charging happening at that moment, because you've both got charging and you've potentially also got a secure proof of presence. And proof of presence means that we can attach actions and transactions to that snap to charge. the beauty of this connection is highly intuitive and simple. Boom, you just snap them to charge. You don't have to do anything different. There's no behavior change that's required. And you're going to need a lot more of this kind of thing in the future because as we move to more and more home automation, security is going to become more and more important. So quickly, what kind of things do we mean by actions? Well, you could make a highly secure proof of presence. What would that mean? Well, it might things like lights and locks and appliances, entertainment systems, windows and door locks and that kind of thing. And something that we think will be so simple and so popular, when visitors come to your house, they're going to need a charge, but they can simply tap to charge and go straight in without passwords onto your Wi-Fi. That's interesting within the home. It gets even more interesting if you start to look at things like vacation rentals. You can imagine visiting, for instance, an Airbnb and instantly being able to just tap and get onto instant Wi-Fi, various local services, smart home services, home automation, security, and critically expiring credentials, because if you're a host, you don't want your visitors to be able to get onto all of this stuff all of the time. Similarly, we can do the same kind of things in hotels, similar range of services here. We can see we've one of our a good friend of Rex's and mine actually runs a Renaissance hotel. So we've borrowed a few public brands here to illustrate it. There's no existing relationship with them, but you can imagine being in the hotel. You snap your phone right on, instant Wi-Fi, personal room preferences can be transferred to the room, lights and entertainment, room service menu, and that kind of thing, and security, and again expiring credentials and much more. And then it gets even more interesting if we say, well, let's take this outside of these closed environments into an open public charging network. Here's the numbers on this. By 2026, we believe there's going to be 7.5 billion smartphone users. I mean, this is kind of bonkers. It's almost everybody on the planet. It's just crazy numbers out there. And the data shows that every week, 60% of people run out of power. That's quite a lot of opportunity for public charging. Yeah. The problem is that today public charging, which happens in all of these places, by the way, airports and restaurants and shopping malls and food courts and concert venues and museums, all these places, hotel lobbies, beaches, coffee shops, tourist attractions, museums, it goes on and on. But public charging typically looks like this, doesn't it? And the interesting thing about this picture is notice how even though
we can't see any pictures.
Okay, can't see any pictures. What are you seeing nothing? What are you seeing?
You're no longer sharing your screen. Sorry.
Okay. How long ago did I lose? How long ago did we lose?
I think it was transitioning back. You were talking through it, but I didn't realize you were supposed to have your screen up. So I think it was a couple minutes ago.
Okay. So this is what you got me now? Yeah. So this is what public. Thank you for letting me know. This is what public charging typically looks like too much today. So we feel like if our mission is to change charging for good with iconic design and world-class function, the way to do this is by adding. Remember I said actions and transactions. Well, if we add transactions into this moment of unity, this moment of connection, it starts to get really interesting, because now you can add in rewards points to incentivize repeats. You can do kind of punch cards, charge them a number of times, or come to this coffee shop a number of times and accumulate benefits. Gamification's possible. Hyper-local promotions, because you're going to know when someone connects, you're going to know exactly where they are, not just that they're in the region, but exactly where they are. Cashback becomes possible. We're also, because we're committed to the trees, already planted, 628,000 trees, we can make sure that we're making all of this public charging carbon neutral, and also payments become possible. And so again, cautioning that these are illustrative pictures. We don't yet have relationships with these folks, but here's what it might look like in your local coffee shop. Here's what it might look like in public charging. I was fortunate enough to spend a week at a series of meetings with some entrepreneurs and Richard Branson a few years ago. So we always support the brand for you, Richard, whenever we can. And at conferences and events, we see this kind of thing. And I just want to close quickly by talking about the enabler for all of this. As you tap to charge, something magical happens, which is we load this card onto your device. And I'm just going to do a super quick demo of that.
You're no longer sharing your screen again, just to
I know, because I'm going to switch over, if I may, to this camera and just show you this tap to charge thing. So you imagine as you introduce a phone ready to charge, you can snap it on there to charge. But as I bring it in here, do you see that it's brought up a tag here, which is I just have to do security. Come on my face. Okay. Excuse me. Right. So it's offering me the opportunity to add this card. Hello, gorgeous. To add this card directly into my wallet. This works with Apple Wallet or with Android. And now having popped that card in, any number of things become possible, because once we're situated in the wallet, we can provide all kinds of additional services. I'm going to submit you to kind of more slides again, but I'll just read off of this one. Using the card, now the relationship becomes in software and service, and we can do all kinds of things. It can become the investor portal. We plan to have our investors be able to see their investment status through the card, because you turn the card over, there's all kinds of information on the back. We can run affinity, communication, you can do messaging through the card, all kinds of offers, passes and tickets to events. The list just goes on and on and on. So it's kind of an interesting transition from a set of products that you would buy for personal use into products that we can provide for markets like hotels, like the kind of Airbnb and similar networks, and then go to public venues, because if there's a little bit of money involved in charging, you don't have to have this sort of frankly not that great public charging. If there's a little bit of money in there, what were the numbers I just gave you? 7.5 billion people, 60% of them running out of power every week.
Yeah.
If you multiply that up, you get very significant potential. You're into the hundreds of millions of dollars in potential revenue very quickly from just a few people, just a fraction of the world charging every week. So, sorry, that was a lot, but it's a big new vision, and I thought it was worth putting in front of people if they were thinking of investing.
Well, I appreciate you talking us through that, Seymour. There's a couple of questions that came up from the audience based on all that. So kind of going through them quickly, I think hopefully a relatively quick question is, what's MAGFAST thinking about in terms of encryption and things with these public chargers?
Comprehensive. I don't think it's worth. It's too complicated a topic to go into in detail here. And just between us, we haven't finalized all of the specifications. But I will tell you, our own commitment to this is we use a product called YubiKey to protect everything internally within the company. If you're familiar with that, it's astonishing levels of encryption, way beyond regular two-factor, and we envisage that kind of encryption being built in to hopefully eliminate, but certainly absolutely minimize the kinds of attacks that could happen. It's a very intelligent question, I have to say. Very intelligent question.
And I think you came about this close to giving us a one-word answer. In comprehensive, and then couldn't quite stick the landing. But I appreciate it there, Seymour.
It's also worth mentioning, given that you want a longer answer than just one word, obviously, Rob. It's also worth mentioning that all the technology that Seymour's shown in the phone uses industry standards, including the Apple and Android wallet. So those are there's a lot of encryption that already takes place that's taken billions of dollars and many years to develop that MAGFAST
across the industry. That makes sense.
Yeah.
One of the other questions that's come up from a couple people I've seen kind of in the question and answer session, and thanks Rex for answering some of those questions about pre-orders and things.
43 questions so far, which I hope people with quick responses to. So yeah,
appreciate it, because we're going to try and stick mostly to the business, not the pre-order stuff on this call. So, I think a fair question from a couple of different people out there is, it seems like MAGFAST has quite a few different products. Why try to do so many at once versus picking maybe one or two and starting with them and moving on from there?
Yeah, I think that's an entirely fair question. Look, there's a core product here, which is the second generation. We've shown you ways that it can be used. We think for a family of consumer products, it's only a family if it's a family, but we don't have to make 7 of them. We can make 3 or 4 of them to get started. I think, if you look around the industry, I mentioned Ugreen earlier on, Anchor as well. Belk. If you look at them, these people don't go around with 2 or 3 products. In the consumer space, it's essentially marketing malpractice to go to all of the cost of acquiring a customer and then only having 1 product for them. So we think that it is essential to do that, which is why, in the past, you know this, Rob, because we've been with you for a while. Yeah. We saw Reg CF crowdfunding, which is what this is, as being kind of all we needed. We now see this as being the first of a series of steps, which the plans are not laid for them yet. But that we've often discussed Regulation A with you, which is the next step above CF, and there are many other options that open up in public markets and so on. None of that is set in stone yet. We haven't signed contracts, but the vision that we're putting forward now isn't a vision to build a company that needs a few $1 million of investment and will do tens of millions of dollars a year. It's a vision for a company that over the coming years will need tens of millions of dollars investment, but actually has the potential to do hundreds of millions or maybe billions of dollars. We may or may not be successful, but it is now a very big vision now with some big partners coming in. And I mentioned John Fanning earlier on, who joined us for this live broadcast that we did 48 hours ago. Wasn't available this afternoon, but will be with us on Monday evening when we will be doing a live stream from 5 p.m. Eastern until, what did we say? We said 3 hours until 8 p.m. Eastern, okay? 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing a live broadcast. We call it Closing Ceremonies. We've done these before. They're a great deal of fun. And we get a whole lot of different people who are involved in. You've graciously joined us sometimes in the past, Rob. Maybe if you're free, you'll join us again this Monday. And it's just during the last few hours where we answer people's questions, play a bit of video, talk about the company in a little bit more detail. But John Fanning is helping us to plan out how do we take this from a really cool vision that's this big to something that is significantly bigger. And we've been working on these ideas for a while, but the extra support that his network is able to bring to us completely kind of explodes the whole thing. So this remains high risk. It just remains high risk with something bigger when we're successful.
I appreciate you walking everyone through that. I know we're coming in towards the end of our time here. Hopefully you guys will have a good. Anyone who's here who doesn't have a chance to have their question answered or still wants to learn more can definitely tune in on Monday. Quickly, Seymour, as you finish up this round, you've talked about this being kind of a one step on a road towards kind of growing the company. What are the kind of key milestones for you guys as a company that the kind of investors should watch out for? Right? What are the next couple big steps you want to take?
Rex, feel free to chip in at any time. But I would say the first job, from a technical point of view, is development of the Gen 2 connector, because that goes to the heart of everything we're doing. As we've said, it uses existing technologies, but MAGFAST has proven rather good at bringing existing technologies kind of together into a good package. But meanwhile, we have a couple of just stunning leading products. The Heathrow suitcase that I mentioned earlier on. This thing is, Rex has actually spent, it's probably something like 10 hours by now over the last few weeks, with a gentleman who is a 25-year veteran of the luggage industry, who's sort of essentially coming out of retirement to help us get distribution for this product. He says it's unlike anything he's seen before. We shipped him the entire consumer experience. So we sent him one, fully boxed and everything. And he said, look, this is simply extraordinary. We also believe it's better than the most famous brand in its kind of aluminum suitcase. So moving forward with those existing products, getting wider distribution for them, that's extending what we've already got, working on developing these new products, and behind the scenes developing plans for the card, because the card is a different product altogether. You could imagine, Rob, I mean, you've seen companies coming to Netcapital with different ideas. Yep. You could imagine a company coming to Netcapital just with the card, right?
Exactly.
Could be a very substantial business by itself.
And yeah, and that's why it's going to be interesting to see how you all stack together the different
blend
products.
them together. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I think we have time. I want to make sure I'm looking through the questions that have come in. A lot of them are about kind of pre-orders of the products and things like that. I'm going to save that for Rex and your team. I want to make sure there aren't anything that would be relevant to investors on a broader level. Let's see. Hold on. Bernice asked, will this recording be available later to watch? It will be.
Sure.
I can answer that. It'll be on Netcapital's YouTube channel, and we'll also send it over to MAGFAST. They might repost it as well. So it will be available for anyone who came in and wants to rewatch.
There was also somebody asking a sort of mechanics question about their credit card their debit card, I think, not being saved in their Netcapital interface, and I suggesting that that's probably not a thing you can answer right now, but you might want to. You can. So
yeah, for anyone here who's trying to invest in MAGFAST and having any difficulties, whether it's you're not sure what information to fill out, having any problem with any payments or anything like that, you're always welcome and encouraged to email team@netcapital.com. I've got an awesome customer service team who will be there to help you. They'll be around. There's also, have it memorized off the top of my head, but we have a phone number. It's at the bottom of our website. You can call that. We have somewhat limited hours right now, but if you leave us a message, we'll give you a call back, and we're here to help. So anyone who needs help with their investment, we've got a team that's ready to be here and help you out.
Yeah. I got to say, I want to give a plug for you guys while we're here, Rob. We, Rex and I, over the years, have met with, I think, all of Netcapital's competitors, certainly the kind of all of the bigger ones that you might have heard of, and this is you're the class game in town, Rob. I mean, any entrepreneurs
really
watching. Yeah, and it's from the heart. I mean, many of the others, it just felt like you were in a kind of sausage making factory, and you guys really took a look at what we had, kind of understood it, appreciated it, and it's a truly kind of white glove, a truly extraordinary partnership. So I don't know if any entrepreneurs are watching. But don't. I mean, I really mean this from my heart. Don't think of going anywhere. I mean, talk to the others, but this is where you want to be.
Well, I appreciate it, Seymour. And for everyone here, everyone listening, whether you're a potential investor or a potential entrepreneur, we are here to help at Netcapital. Sometimes investing is confusing. Sometimes it's hard to do, as Seymour knows. Sometimes it's hard to raise. Sometimes it's hard to get all the information right. And we've tried really hard to combine our technology with really good people. And so if you're here, just know that we're here to help. We do our best. We're not always going to be perfect, just like everyone, any organization ever, but we try really hard to get it right. And so, yeah, if anyone's having any trouble or has any questions, reach out to us. We're here to help. And we'll do everything we can to make your experience the best we can.
Brilliant.
I think we're coming towards the end here. So why don't I just leave it with you, Seymour and Rex? Anything, in the last couple of minutes here, anything else you want the kind of public to know as they take a look at MAGFAST and consider making an investment?
Yeah, there have been quite a few questions about people who missed the presentation earlier in the week or want to know where things are. If you go to magfast.com/status, or I think as we say in California where I now live, magfast.com/status, the early part of next week, there'll be plenty of information there which will answer any questions you have about Gen 2 and so forth. So that'll be covered there. And I think lots of very encouraging comments from people who are excited by, what's coming with Gen 2 and so forth. So, very enthusiastic. People are asking about sort of what happens to their shares in MAGFAST if and when MAGFAST goes public, and the if with the when is incredibly important, because Who knows if that day will ever come, but certainly that's what everyone here is working very hard towards. There is absolutely no guarantee that these shares will ever be publicly traded. Absolutely no guarantee. You're investing in an early stage company, but Rob and Netcapital do a terrific job of explaining how in a diversified portfolio, maybe it's worth having some of these very high risk, potentially high reward early stage companies in there, as well as these kind of the bigger companies that are much lower risk, but probably have a lower chance of going from something very small to very large. Maybe there's a sort of mix, a diversified portfolio answer to that question. But again, there is no guarantee that MAGFAST will ever go public. That is just the hard work that we're all doing in hopes that we can achieve that. And we're very, it's because of people who are here today and because of the investors who are engaging that may be a possibility. It's also because of your continuing support when it comes to the products and so forth. So we're very, very grateful to everyone who's
I was just going to say,
yes.
sorry, Rex, stepping on you there. If folks are the URL Rex mentioned is in the process of being updated at the moment. If people want to see the main presentation from the other day, the main new investor presentation, magfast.com/livestream. We have a replay of it there. magfast.com/livestream has the full presentation, which goes through the background of the old products, that talks about the successes, shows you a couple of things that we're doing with AI at the moment, and then takes you through the kind of this shift into the new thinking and opening up the new possibilities. So that's magfast.com/livestream, which is where we held a stream the other day, and it's where we've now got the replay of the main investor. Yeah, and we also did a presentation for our existing customers, talking through the changes that we're making at the moment. If you get in touch with us, we can get you a copy of that as well. But yeah, magfast.com/livestream if you feel that this hour hasn't been enough. You can.
If you want more, see more.
If you want more,
we have it.
We have it at magfast.com/livestream, and there's an invest button there, or at Netcapital. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for taking the time. It's been a really productive hour. Thanks for walking us through everything. As a reminder to everybody here, right, there's all the information on MAGFAST is available at netcapital.com. You can go to their MAGFAST page. Take a look, read about the investment, and if it's right for you, you can make an investment if you'd like. Thanks again, Rex and Seymour, for taking the time to be with us. And if anyone has any outstanding questions that weren't answered here, there is always the discussion board on MAGFAST page. You can post a question there, and Seymour and Rex and their team will get back to you. Well, gentlemen, thanks again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you,
Bless you, Rob, and thanks everyone for joining us.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Thanks so much.